Hey guys, how you doing? It's what's today? Wednesday? Time be flying. Like these days of the week, like one day you blink, it goes from Monday to Sunday, and it's days of the week. Every day is just flying by. I wanted to go live and talk about real estate. I wanted to start bringing you guys some tidbits, some tips, tips, some tricks, some everything that you need to know about real estate. Any questions you may have, feel free to jump in the chat, type them in the chat box, let me know what's going on, say hey, especially if you got anything real estate related. I wanted to bring to y'all the closing table. This is something I want to do weekly, whether it be every Wednesday, might be every Tuesday, maybe every Thursday, but just come and bring some of the things that I've experienced and learned over the years of my journey in real estate. And just starting it off, who am I? My name is Devon Surreal. I've been in real estate. This is year 10 for me. So, it's a pivotal year. And, when I first started back in 2016, it was, man, the market was a lot different. Homes were a lot cheaper, but the process is still the same, like finding that home, vetting that home, getting connected with the right lender, getting put into the right programs, whether it's selling your home, getting it shown in the best light. Some of those things, even though a lot of things are moving pieces and changing, some of those pieces like that stayed the same. So that's the beautiful part about real estate. Um, I wanted to do this mainly for your first time home buyers, maybe even your second time home buyers. Sometimes, after you bought one or two houses, you might not be hip to some of the new stuff that's going on. Your sellers, investors. A lot of times people buy a home and they want an investment home. And with my experience, me and my brother, we flipped a couple of homes. I've worked with wholesaling. I've done wholesaling myself. So there's a lot of things in the investing world you know, that people just don't realize, like, man, it might not be as hard as you think to get your next property, because you probably fought so hard maybe to get your first property, and you were blessed to get your FHA, your 3.5% down. You might think like, man, how am I going to get another property? But I've rubbed elbows with hard money lenders, private money lenders, and sometimes it's not as hard and complicated as you think. As long as you have, maybe a few coins saved up, maybe you got decent credit, maybe decent business credit. Where there's a will, there's a way to pick up another property. So I don't want to let those things intimidate y'all. So I want to spend a few moments breaking up what I would call like a few myths. Like myth number one is like, for that first time home buyer, I want to get a home, and how much do I need to save, Devon? Like, how much do I really need to have in my bank account to get over the hump? And a lot of times people get in their head is like they need 20%. And that's not true. Like, there's so many programs from VHDA to FHA. I've seen people get into homes with as little as 1% down or as little as 3.5% down. When things are good, sometimes the sellers are covering your closing costs. So, that can be your 2 to 3% on that side coming from the seller. With a lot of these loan programs, you might be able to get as much as 4% that comes from the seller. It all depends on what type of deal you get negotiated. Um, what else? What other myths that I run into? Like, let's say on the home selling side, people may say like, hey Devon, hey, my house is worth XYZ. And I just want to let you know Zillow is not always accurate. That's why it's important to, connect with your local realtor, have them run comps, and have them compare apples to apples. Like, I don't compare a 2-story home with a 1-story home. Sorry, they're not the same, even though they might have sold recently. And that's another thing. Like, you don't want to be looking at a comp that sold 2 years ago or a comp that sold a year ago when there's comps that sold in the last 2 to 3 months. You want to use apples to apples, which would be within the same, probably 1 square mile, depending on how, like, if you're out in the country, maybe you go further out because, houses aren't as close. But if you're in the city and I'm running comps for you, I'm going to pick a 1 mile square radius, and I'm probably going to focus on homes that were in your neighborhood. What did they sell for? How closely related are they? Are they am I comparing a 3 bedroom with a 3 bedroom, a 4 bedroom with a 4 bedroom? What's the square footage? How many bedrooms? How many baths? Those are how we come up with numbers. It's the same way an appraiser would come up with numbers, but if your real estate agent is really good, he or she should be 80 to 90% as close as the appraiser is going to be. Um, a lot of people, another myth is like, I don't really need an agent. And to be honest with you, you don't. But I've seen a lot of people get beat over the head when they don't have an agent. So I would encourage you to get one, especially in new construction. I feel like that's one of the biggest myths, that I don't need an agent. I can negotiate this deal. I've seen so many times where like like the builder's agent works for the builder. So that means when you walk in their door, like they might have a deal on the front table, but there's always a deal in the back table with like, hey, where they'll be like, hey, Devon, let me talk with my manager to see if that 10,000 we're offering them that seems so good. Let me see if I can get it to 20. And I literally seen builders be able to take, closing costs from $10,000 to maybe $20,000. You would have never got that if you weren't with the agent, because the agent is used to working with that sales rep and rubbing elbows, and it's their goal to work together and to get as many homes sold this year. So some of those things are important in the new in the new construction space. So one of the things I want to talk to you, like, I'm gonna just spend some time hitting some areas. I encourage y'all to, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. Please let me know what you're thinking. I understand, it's midday. You might be seeing this and be like, what's going on with, but if you got a question and it's real estate related, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I love to hit it. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about is numbers, pricing. Prices is something we've seen jump up crazy in the last couple of years. Ever since COVID, home prices pretty much have exploded. But it's good to stay within your budget, understand your budget. But to be honest with you, you don't really know what your budget is until you sit down with a lender. And which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? I'm a fan of come to your realtor, find your realtor first. And then find, because why? Because sometimes you come to me and you tell me, hey Devon, this is my credit score. This is my savings. These are my goals. This is what I would like to achieve. This is how much time I got to work with. Like, I'll let you know, like, hey, I think such and such over here might have a good program for you, and I think you should go that route. Or you might be like, you know what, I want to try this program that I've been, hearing about. Maybe it's NACA or something. Like, it's an amazing program, but I already know, man, this program takes a while to get through. So if you only got like 60 days and you need to be out your apartment, I'm gonna be like, I don't think that's the best fit for you. Let me see if I can find something that's close, that's similar, but won't give you as much hassle. What do I mean by that? Like, let's say everything NACA is offering, your no down payment and your no PMI. I could tell you, hey, if as long as you don't want to be too close to the city, let's go USDA. Less hoops to jump through, and as long as you meet those criteria, that might be a program that fits you better. So I say it's important to come to the realtor first, because the realtor might point you in the right direction of what lender might be able to help you the best. Either way, you need to connect with the lender to know what your numbers are going to be. They'll look at your income, they'll look at all those things, and they'll be able to look at your financial situation and be like, hey, this is what you need to begin to save up. This is what you need to begin to do so that you have all your ducks in a row. Cool. Timing. You got to think about what stage of life you're in currently. Like, are you upgrading? Are you downsizing? So I run into people that are all different types of stages in their journey. Maybe the kids just moved out and they've been empty nesters. So now Now it's time to go from that 2-story home down to that 1-story home. And maybe it's time for that 55 and up community. So it's all about, what's going on. Like, I work with a lot of military folks, so sometimes they'll be relocating and they'll be with me on Zoom and like, hey, show me the house, show me all the nooks and crannies of the house, show me the stuff that the pictures won't necessarily give me. And that's important because I can tell you, there's plenty of times I've seen homes that look amazing online. And then I get in front of it up close and personal. I'll be like, I knew there was something off. You go out and I take the pictures from being inside. I take the video from being inside and I take it out to the street. And this thing is in the middle of a war zone. I mean, it's in the middle of the hood or something. And it's like, this is not what you envision as far as raising your kids or raising your family or where you want to be. And that comes from experience of like, let me see what the pictures are not showing. And that's something that can be important. Also, when it comes to timing, you may jobs and job stability. You really want to be on your job for at least 2 years of steady work history. And if you change in jobs, try to stay in the same industry. It's okay if you being a nurse that goes from working at one hospital to switching to another hospital because they pay more and got more bonuses. I'm all for you getting your change, getting your money. Go ahead and do that. But try to stay in the same field. Um, Another thing is like, how do I help clients win? I would say, education comes first. Sometimes it's great to put somebody in a first time home buyers class where they learn about everything. Preparation is key. If I can prepare you for what you're getting ready to go through, it kind of lessens the headache. One of the things that comes about from working with me is I try to make your process as stress free as possible. And you don't realize how stressful it is. And some people may not even realize how much I bless them by taking all the bullet. Like there's some there's some conversations and stuff that like, nah, like you're not gonna stress my client. I already know this is gonna be a no for my client. Let me, because they told me what they want. And if you're not trying to fix XYZ, and if you're not trying to do XYZ, I can tell you already it's going to be a firm no. So it's like people that can shield you from all the extra stress. Because buying the home and negotiating the deal, that's one set of stress. Then you still have to deal with maybe the lending side, where it's like they're asking you for what you ate last night, the night before. And if you go back 3 weeks, what did you have for breakfast on that third Thursday of 3 months ago? Because that's how the lending process is. If you have if you have an account that has a ton of transactions going on, they're gonna want to know like, why are you moving so much money in and out? So something I recommend is just having an account that's specifically for home buying. What does that mean? Like if you have to start a savings account and you putting money in, put a certain amount of money in and let it sit. Once money has seasoned, that means that it's been in your account for over 90 days. There's no more questioning, hey, what's going on with this? So, like, if you got an account that's, has the funds you need for closing and has your down payment, the lender's not going to be asking you a ton of questions because there's not a ton of money going in and out. So just having one of those accounts that's just chilling out, not doing too much, that's important. Those are some of those things that can kind of protect your peace during this process, like won't have you stressed out. But even on the selling side, like one of the things I do as somebody who's been around the block, been an agent for 10 years, been an investor, like I make these relationships with contractors. So by the time I get this long list of stuff that I know these people that ask for everything under the sun when it comes to fixing your house. And you're like, man, I don't even got all this stuff going on with my house. The first thing I ask the other agents, like, hey, before I go and get all these quotes, before I, try to get my client the best quote to get everything done, do your clients even really want this home? Because sometimes people use that as a strategy to try to negotiate their way out of a deal. But if they really want a home, like, all right, let's work with them. Like, I know the inspector, every time you do a home inspection, an inspector gives a quote on what something should cost, right? So let's say you have 3 outlets that are not working. To fix an outlet might cost $100. To fix 3 outlets does not cost $300 because the same electrician will be there to knock out all 3 within the hour. But they're not going to come out for anything less than that 1 hour anyway. So the pricing that an inspector will give on something that needs to be repaired is always supposed to be higher because it's kind of supposed to favor the buyer. So as a seller looking at the inspection report, just know that when you bring all these to a good handyman or a good class B or class A, class C contractor, they're going to be able to give you a better deal on doing bulk of the work. So they might take your they might take your inspection list and be able to knock it out for pennies on the dollar. I mean, well, not pennies on the dollar, because you don't want, just anybody doing the work. You want them to be licensed, especially if the work is electrical. If it's in red, that means it's hazardous. You want it done right. If it's plumbing, you want that stuff done right, because flipping my hat back to the buyer side, you always want to put that this work will be completed by somebody who's a licensed contractor. So I just want to give y'all a moment to leave y'all questions, and if you got anything that's real estate related, please drop it in the chat. If you want to talk more about real estate, please DM me. You can also text me. My phone number is easily found, 804-381-7320. You can shoot me a text, give me a call. Devon Sells RE for real estate at gmail.com. You can send me an email. If you're interested in programs that might help you put you in better position to buy, if you're interested in knowing your home's value, and if you haven't seen a net seller profit sheet and like, man, if I sold, what would I walk away with? I can put together one of those sheets so that you can know your numbers. Knowing your numbers are important, especially if you're a seller. I need to know how much I'm gonna walk away with, because if I'm maybe selling this property is to buy another property, and I need to know how much I need to put down on the next property, how much I'm gonna net from that property, how much debt I'm gonna pay off. All these are moving pieces, and a good realtor will help you put together a great game plan on your next move. So all this stuff is important, and if you got any type of questions, just reach out to me. I got guides, I got ebooks for home buying, I got ebooks for home selling. I can shoot you the link for that. That stuff would be a great resource. Anything else? Let me see. Any questions, please drop it in the chat. So those are kind of some of the main things. It'll be my goal to do this, I'm gonna say once a week. It's Wednesday. We'll see. We'll see us back next Wednesday. And you'll see more stuff coming from me. Some of y'all might see me. I post a lot, whether I'm at the range, whether I'm at the gym, whether I'm shooting a prayer video, or whatever the case may be, whether I'm with the family. You're gonna see me. So whatever you like the most, and whatever you resonates with you, just leave me a comment, share it, whatever. Just let me know what's going on. Show me some love, and I'm gonna show love back. Well, I appreciate y'all tuning in. That's all I got pretty much for y'all. Like, if you got any questions you want answered, please drop it in the chat. I'll try to get back to you. I'll try to reframe it even for next week when I hop on live again, talk about real estate. I'm gonna brainstorm some ideas, and we'll figure out, some topics to get in for next week. Again, this is Devon. Anything real estate related, I'm your guy. Also, I'm gonna have some stuff coming out for entrepreneurs pretty much soon. I'm gonna start a school community. I'm working on something specifically really for kingdom entrepreneurs. Like, if you have a calling on your life and you want to really connect your faith and your calling together and make sure everything is aligned biblically and you walking in your calling, those are the people I'm gonna be trying to reach. So looking forward to connecting with some folks, doing some big things. Real estate wise this year, I'm hoping to help 30 plus families. So, if you know somebody that's looking to buy or sell a home, please send them my way. I'm looking to help them. Investing wise, closed on a project this week. We're gonna have, something rolling. So I have some, good content coming out pretty soon, maybe in the next week, 2 weeks. You're gonna see a house that's horrible, get rehab. And it's just that's just the story of life. No matter how beat up your life may feel, God can restore it. So that's why I love rehabbing still. But any questions, any comments, drop them in the chat. I'm gonna connect with y'all on another time. Appreciate y'all tuning in and checking out the closing table live. Peace.